Next tonight, asylum seekers set to arrive at a former military base in Lincolnshire within weeks will be housed there for up to 9 months, the government's revealed.
As many as 400 residents living near RAF Scampton attended a meeting with the Home Office last night to hear more details on plans for the site.
But after claims the government's breaching a notice to temporarily stop work there went unanswered, many left feeling their concerns were ignored. Amelia Beckett reports.
That probably isn't the reaction the Home Office was hoping for during a meeting held to reassure residents over their plans for RAF Scampton.
There's a whole load of different surveys and...
Last night, these locals gathered at Ingham Cammeringham Village Hall to put their questions to those in power. Questions many we spoke to felt went unanswered.
We felt that they picked out the questions that they could answer with the usual waffle, and the concerns of the local community was just skimmed over or not addressed at all.
Not very informative. The usual thing we had, the same thing that showgrounds, and I think it's terrible the way the Home Office is treating us.
A lot of people left early, angry. They didn't feel that perhaps the Home Office answered questions honestly.
It's now just weeks until asylum seekers are due to arrive on site. Last night, the Home Office said 50 will be moved on to begin with, scaled up to 2,000 by the end of the year. They also revealed they would stay for a maximum of 9 months, be free to come and go as they choose, and there would be 24-hour security on site. But yesterday, one resident began a camp-out in protest over work continuing at the site, despite a recent stop notice over potential planning breaches. When asked about that, they refused to answer, citing an ongoing legal case due to be heard next month.
They just say, we can't answer that, it's subject to legal proceedings, but they haven't stopped work. We've seen them coming and going all day. They're a law unto themselves.
The Home Office told us they are carefully considering the implications of that notice, adding that safety and security of the local community is of paramount importance. But many last night say they didn't feel reassured by a government they say has largely ignored them until now. Amelia Beckett, ITV News, Ingham.
Well, following last night's meeting, today our political correspondent Sharon Preet-Carer got the chance to sit down with the Prime Minister and put those concerns from residents directly to him.
Yeah, she joins us live in Downing Street now. And Sharon Preet, people in Scampton clearly feeling very, very strongly about this issue. What did the Prime Minister have to say?
Yeah, absolutely. Feeling strongly and feeling ignored. Well, today was my chance to put the concerns of those residents directly to the Prime Minister. You won't be surprised to hear that he was very keen to tell me that one of his 5 priorities is stopping the boats. But as you heard in Amelia's report there, even if he did succeed at stopping all of the small boat crossings, that wouldn't stop RAF Scampton from being used to house thousands of asylum seekers, some of those waiting for months and years for the Home Office to make a decision about whether they can stay in the UK. Well, I only had 5 minutes to put some of the concerns of calendar viewers to the Prime Minister, and here's what he had to say.
Prime Minister, the council at RAF Scampton says the Home Office is breaking planning laws by building accommodation for asylum seekers there. Is it?
I understand the strength of feeling on this, and I want to reassure people that the Home Office is working closely with the council and local stakeholders.
That's not how local people feel.
Well,
we spoke to the landlord of the Dambusters Inn. He said it was mind-boggling how little local people had been consulted. Do you actually care how local people feel about this?
Absolutely, and that's why the Home Office is engaging widely with stakeholders, including the local council, to make sure that these plans progress properly, that any impact can be mitigated. But taking a step back, why are we in this situation? Because we've got an unprecedented issue with people coming in small boats. One of my 5 priorities is to stop the boats.
Prime Minister, this isn't about stopping boats.
Well, hang on, it's all part of it, because at the moment taxpayers in Lincolnshire and everywhere else are paying £5-6 million a day to house illegal migrants in hotels. We've got to bring that down. Part of doing that is to find alternative large sites. By the way, in my own constituency as well, I just point out, but also barges as well on the south coast.
Why won't Scampton be used to house asylum seekers in hotels at Skegness? Why will it only be used to house asylum seekers who are currently in the south of the country.
Well, look, across the country, we have this challenge. Every town, market town, city across the country is dealing with this. That's why we've got to find an alternative. Large sites are an alternative that will save the taxpayer money.
Why not relieve the pressure on Skegness then?
Well, we're trying to relieve the pressure everywhere, and those are the plans. But the main way for us to do that is to stop the boats, is to stop people coming here in the first place. We've got to have a system. But I think the British people want the same as what I want, is that it's them and the government.
Residents at Scampton might not agree.
Well, I think what they want is what I want, which is that it's the British government and the British people who decide who comes to our country and not criminal gangs.
Let's talk about your constituency
that's the system that we're trying to deliver.
But when will asylum seekers be housed at Catterick
Again,
Harrison's?
I'm not the one who's doing this, and it's right that I'm not involved in that. The Home Office is doing this individually in all the right ways.
But you're the Prime Minister. Surely you know what's happening in your constituency.
Well, because I am the Prime Minister, it's also right that I'm not interfering in what's
Robert
happening.
Jenrick said that would be happening 6 months ago. People are waiting. When will they get that decision?
Again, the Home Office in all these cases works with local stakeholders to put a plan in place and then bring it about, right? It's not right that I interfere in that. That wouldn't be right, actually. It's important that I don't do that.
Let's move on.
But look, I think, again, this is just taking a step back, right? The numbers this year, for the first time, are down.
Yes,
now, I
and
know
the
this
backlog
is
higher than ever at
No, it's not. Actually,
175,000.
that's not right. I said in my speech that we would eliminate the initial decision asylum backlog.
Let's move on, because we don't have much time,
We've
Prime
cut it by a
Minister.
third already this year,
Prime
so
Minister,
we are making
since
progress.
your party has been in power, Hull City Council has had its budget cut by 28%. Meanwhile, Surrey has had its budget cut by just 8%. Prime Minister, that's not levelling up, is it?
Well, if you look at what's happening with council budgets this year, they're going up by about 9.5% on average.
Do you think that will make up for 13 years of underinvestment?
For the last few years, they've been going up actually in quite considerable amounts. And you talk about last 13 years, it's worth then bearing in mind, where were we in 2010? The country was bankrupt. The Labour Party left the new government a note saying there's no money left.
Why is it that councils in our region have had budget cuts 3 times as high as the
13 years ago,
south?
Decisions had to be made to make sure that the country's public finances
But
were
why
restored.
that discrepancy between north and
So
south?
I don't actually accept those numbers. The latest data I've seen that the areas with most deprived councils have seen more funding. When I talk to council leaders, the number one thing that they raise with me is the pressure on social care. Now, of course, do people always want more money spent on things? Of course they do. I understand that. But I'm balancing that with all the other things that we're doing too. But social care, I prioritised weeks after becoming Prime Minister with record funding.
Prime Minister, thanks very much for your time.
Thanks very much.
Interesting to hear from the Prime Minister on some of those big issues facing our region today.
Yeah.